Hello, and welcome to your essential guide for the practical part of IGNO's BPC 131 course, Foundations of Psychology. If you've been looking for a clear path to understand the requirements, how to write your notebook, and what to expect in the final exam, well, you've come to the right place. So let's jump right in. We're going to cover everything you need. We'll kick things off with the absolute basics, then we'll look at the specific test and experiment you'll be conducting. After that, we'll spend some real time on that all-important practical notebook, break down exactly how you'll be graded, touch on some key testing concepts you've got to know, and wrap up with the ethical guidelines you must follow. All right, first things first, let's get a handle on what this practical component is really all about. I want to be clear, this isn't some optional side project. It's a mandatory, core part of your course, and it's designed to get you out of the textbook and into the real hands-on science of psychology. This is really where the theory comes to life. You're not just going to be reading about psychology, you are going to be doing it. You'll actually step into the role of the experimenter, administering real psychological tests and conducting some classic experiments, all under the guidance of your academic counselor, of course. Now, how important is it? Well, it carries a weight of 2 credits. That tells you right there that this is a significant part of your overall grade. And to earn those credits, you have to successfully complete both the internal and the external assessments, which, don't worry, we're going to break down for you in just a little bit. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of what you'll actually be doing. You are required to complete 2 practicals in total. One is a psychological test, and the other is an experiment. And here's the cool part. You get to choose which ones you want to do. Before you choose, it is absolutely crucial to understand the difference between these two. You can think of a psychological test like a highly accurate ruler. It's a standardized tool that you use to measure something that already exists, like a personality trait. An experiment, on the other hand, is much more like a science lab. You're actively changing one thing to see how it affects another, because you're hunting for a cause and effect relationship. So, for your psychological test, you get to choose one of 2 classics. Your first option is the Eysenck Personality Inventory, or EPI. This one measures key personality dimensions like extroversion and neuroticism. Your second choice is the 16PF, which goes a little deeper, looking at 16 foundational personality traits that were identified by the psychologist Raymond Cattell. And for your experiment, you also have a choice between 2 foundational studies. You can either investigate the Muller-Lyer illusion. You've probably seen it. It's that famous optical illusion that really messes with our perception of length. Or you could explore something called bilateral transfer, which is a fascinating look at how learning a motor task with one hand, say tracing a star, can actually make your other hand better at it too. Okay, let's talk about what is easily one of the most critical parts of your internal grade, the practical notebook. This isn't just a journal, it's a comprehensive, handwritten report of the test and experiment you did, and you have to follow a very specific format if you want to get those top marks. This right here, this is the blueprint. You need to follow this 12-part structure for both of your practical reports. It's not optional, it's the required format. Now notice that little note. A hypothesis is only required for experiments, not for tests. And here's a pro tip for you. In that discussion section, number 11, that's your chance to really shine. Try to connect what you found directly back to the theories in your textbook. That's how you show you really get the why behind it all. Now, one part of your report that's really interesting is the introspective report. After your participant is all done, you're going to ask them about their experience. What were they thinking? How did they feel? This gives you incredible qualitative data that adds context to your numbers, and it is a mandatory part of your final write-up. All right, let's talk about what everybody wants to know. How are you graded? Knowing exactly where the marks come from is the key to focusing your energy in the right places. And it's basically split into 2 big chunks. First up is the internal assessment. And get this, a massive 70% of your final grade is based on the work you do before you even walk into the final exam. This is all about the quality of the work you do during your practical sessions at your study center. And this table here lays it all out. As you can see, those internal marks, that big 70% chunk, come from your attendance, how well you actually conduct the practicals in class, and of course, your notebook. The other 30% comes from the external assessment on exam day. That's based on you conducting a practical, the written answers you provide, and the final oral exam, which is called the Viva Voce. That remaining 30% is for your external assessment. You might know it as the term end examination, or TEE. This is where you get to demonstrate all the skills you've built up, but this time it's under exam conditions. So when it comes to exam day, being prepared is everything. And this is critical. you must bring your own participant with you. On the day, you'll be assigned one of the practicals by lottery, so you need to be an expert on all of them. After you conduct it and do the write-up, you'll have that oral exam, the Viva Voix, with an external examiner who will ask you questions to really test your understanding.
To really nail this, especially in that Viva Voce, you need to understand the science that makes a psychological test legitimate. So let's do a quick review of the core concepts that you absolutely have to know. Think of reliability as another word for consistency or precision. It's like this. If you step on your bathroom scale today and it says you weigh 70 kilograms, you'd expect it to say something very, very close to 70 kilograms tomorrow. A reliable psychological test works the exact same way. It gives you stable, consistent scores over time. Validity, on the other hand, is all about accuracy. That same scale might be reliable. It might say 70 kilograms every single day. But if you actually weigh 80 kilograms, it's not valid. It's consistent, but it's wrong. So here's the key takeaway. A test can be reliable without being valid, but it can never, ever be valid unless it's reliable first. So let's say someone gets a raw score of 25 out of 40 on a test. What does that even mean? Well, on its own, it means absolutely nothing. That's where norms come in. Norms provide the context. By comparing an individual's raw score to the scores of a huge representative norm group, we can turn that raw score into something that makes sense, like a percentile rank. It tells us how they scored relative to everyone else. Finally, we come to what is, without a doubt, the most important section of all, your ethical obligations. The moment you start working with human participants, you are taking on a serious professional responsibility to treat them with respect and to ensure their well-being. These aren't just suggestions. They are hard and fast rules. These are your non-negotiable core ethical duties. You must get informed consent. You must guarantee confidentiality. You absolutely must make sure your participant knows they can withdraw at any time for any reason with no penalty. Building rapport to make them comfortable and sticking to the standardized procedures isn't just good practice, it's essential for protecting both your participant and the scientific integrity of your work. So there you have it. You now have a clear step-by-step roadmap for success in your BPC 131 practicals. You know the requirements, you know the format, and you know the ethics. The only real question left is, which fascinating aspect of the human mind are you going to choose to explore first?